this goes through. Saying to Pete that this is my first time doing it on the cell phone, but I like the virtual background, so I figured I'd do it cool. This way.
I got my kitchen.
Oh yeah. So first of all, my name is Shaul, representing the way of the Most High.ca, a website about YaH and the Torah. And today our special guest is Rebecca Jade, and she's a musician, and I've been enjoying the music that she's been publishing. Today I listened, shortly before this interview, I was listening to your song on Oh My Soul, and I really like that one.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think my favorite one still is the One True Elohim.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll continue to reference your work on Facebook or on YouTube and whatnot, and glad to have you with us today to share with us your testimony.
I'll do my best.
So first of all, praise YaH for this opportunity to share with others, and a lot of people enjoyed the testimony that I did with Pete Meek, and so I think it's great that we can continue to take these opportunities to share with others about our relationship with the Creator. And so wanted to start by, I'll be quiet now, and you can share with the listening audience about your music, your passion for music, and or anything else that you wanted to plug in to start here.
Sure. Well, my music, I've been playing music all my life. And I had a period of probably about 8 years where I was pretty silent. It was when I was real heavy into Christianity. And now looking back, I can see that there was probably a really good reason for that. You know, I think the Most High was keeping me from being able to spread lies. So it's probably good that I was quiet. And now it just seems like since coming into Torah, and then now especially not being Messianic anymore, I just really feel like it's time to blossom with that. And just all praises to YaH, and I'm excited about it. So music is definitely my passion. I love to write. I really enjoy just writing songs straight from Scripture, because I feel like nobody can argue with that. Nobody, you just can't argue with that. So like, for example, my grandma, she's a hardcore, sweet lady, but very devout Christian. And, but we don't really agree on much, but she wants me to send her a CD that she can listen to with my songs. So, hopefully maybe that can impact her in some way. So, yeah. I mean, if you'd like me to, I could share a song that kind of, it tells a little bit of my story. It's very recent, and it kind of tells the story of, and this is getting a little personal, but my journey's been pretty rough the last few years. My home life was not very good, and I've recently moved out on my own, and so it's been tough, but it was something that needed to happen, and so I'm doing well. But the song kind of tells the story of how it all went down. If you want me to share, I can.
Yeah. Firstly, do you have children as well?
Yeah, 3 of them. I got my son is the oldest, and he's 15, Josiah, and then I have a 12-year-old Rose and 10-year-old Karina.
Okay, and they're all currently living with you as well, or?
We're sharing custody, so yeah.
So sometimes they stay with you and sometimes with him?
Yep. Yeah.
So
that's why
that's great.
No interruptions tonight. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and share your song with us if you'd like.
Yeah, sure. Hopefully it comes through okay. Whoop. So this song is called On That Highway. I've been searching for so long. I've been treated so wrong. Well, I know that the feeling's strong, that it's time to move on. Well, the wait is more than I can bear. Don't want to take you there by your behavior. So many friends have left me all alone. Reasons unknown, no longer feel at home. In my own skin, so baby let me in. Be my only friend, let this new life begin. Oh, I'm on that highway, flying away. It's a brand new day. I'm following the way. I won't delay. It's gonna be okay. Well, I know the end of days are near. I see it all so clear. The truth I hold so dear. Well, I am done. You don't like who I've become. A stranger to your frown. Your religion is the smoking gun. So goodbye, can't be who I wanna be. Need to go free and find the lost pieces of me. Traveling on, gonna sing a brand new song. You won't even know I'm gone. Outside the night alone. Away on that highway, flying away. It's a brand new day. I'm following the way. I won't delay. It's gonna be okay. Well, the pain is still here in my heart. It's tearing me. I will take this broken life, lay it at your feet. For I know the plans you have for me are to prosper and not to be harmed. In you alone I am complete. My love has rescued. Every knee will bow to him alone. No one can shake him from his throne. And I'm on that highway, flying away. It's a brand new day. I'm following the way. I won't delay. It's gonna be okay. I'm following the way. I won't delay. It's gonna be okay. Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
Thanks. Sorry about
Praise
I don't know if you heard yeah, praise YaH.
Yeah.
My cat was crying.
Oh, okay. I was wondering what that noise was with that.
My cat.
Yeah.
It will probably happen again.
No worries. Yeah, I think music should be a strong part of people's lives.
Yeah.
I have 4 different inspirational playlists, and I love instrumental music of all kinds. And myself, the songs I've tried to produce are pretty much worship songs. Much like yourself, I prefer to just try to go with simple scriptural texts.
Yeah.
And so, when do you think your CD is going to be completed?
Well, it's not even started, so especially now, I feel like I'm set back a little bit. I've got to, I've got to pay rent and take care of myself a little. So, but I'm hoping to maybe, get into the studio and maybe do a little bit at a time and actually try to work on an actual album. That would be amazing. So, yeah.
Do you know a studio near you?
Yeah, actually there's one really close by. It's really nice. It's a little pricey, but I don't know. We'll see. So,
yeah,
but it's
for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, I actually, when I lived at, where I lived before, we had all the equipment there. So I don't have, so I don't have access to that anymore. So I kind of got to rely on the Father to show me how he wants it to be done. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. As I said, the Zoom recorder is really great as far as audio quality goes. And then you just have to put a bunch of slides or nature scenes or what have you into a video and just overlay the audio track.
Okay.
So,
so it's called a Zoom recorder.
Yeah, and they're fairly inexpensive.
Okay.
When you're composing your music, does it start with the guitar work or the lyrics, or does it kind of just go together, or what?
That's a good question. It actually varies a little bit. Most times, the way a song comes is I'll be just out doing whatever, and I have a melody and some words, and I'll just get my little voice memo on my phone and just kind of record just a little bit of what I'm hearing. And then I usually come back home and I'll either write it on the guitar or the piano, like whichever one seems to be the right instrument. Okay. And then I just build it from there. So yeah, it usually just starts with a real little idea and then it expands. So.
Yeah, it's great. I think it's awesome that you're able to play piano as well. I've always wanted to get into that. So getting to your testimony, obviously you played music before.
Yeah.
I guess under Christianity and so forth.
Yeah, I was worship leader at the church I left.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. How often do you have worship in a day? What's your typical day like now as a follower of YaH as opposed to your previous position in Christianity? Has it changed at all, or? Oh
yeah. In the Word a lot more, just studying a lot, and praying, and I mean, nothing's much changed as far as like I love having fun with my kids and my family, and actually that has changed, to tell you the truth. I mean, I feel like I've truly just been able to, like, the Torah really helps you to not have that bondage of feeling like this is wrong, is this right or wrong, like, oh, I have to let the Spirit guide me, and it's like it's clear. It's like, so if it's not against his laws, then, like just enjoy life, enjoy the blessings. And, so that's been amazing. My kids and I have bonded so much. We talk way more about things, and that they're seeing a lot of truth, which is the biggest blessing I could ask for. Because I wasn't sure if I would have any influence, but it's pretty clear that.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question: is how do you deal with the with your children in this new knowledge that you've come to? How have they responded to it, and so forth?
Yeah, it's been a little difficult because I don't want to be disrespectful to anyone, and I don't put down anyone or even their beliefs. I'm more focused on, this is what I believe and why, and so they've been very open and receptive to hearing. And my daughters especially are very much asking questions, and they just want to learn, and they're eating it up. I mean, and I love that they're asking their own questions. They're not just like mimicking me, they have some legit questions, and some of them I can't answer. But and I encourage them too, like, go ahead, ask your dad, ask your, the other family members the same questions. That's fine, so I'm not threatened at all by any other belief systems. However, it does seem like they're threatened by mine. So I have a whole lot of tension there with people telling them that I'm teaching lies, but I don't care. I mean, I moved out in November, and I haven't had a single visitor here, like, or a text message or anything from anyone really. So like, I'm cool. I'm good. I don't need them. I respect them. I'll always be kind to them, but I'm better off. So.
And, praise YaH that we have this technology available to us. Right. We're able to link with right. so many people from different parts of the world. And it's awesome. I liked how you referenced the last days in that song on the highway. And that's what we're seeing from Deuteronomy 30, is that in your exile, YaH said that he would cause people to realize that they'd been lied to and return back to his Torah. And it specifically used those words in the last days, So were you brought up as a Christian, or did you convert to Christianity when you were older, or what?
Yeah, I was raised in it, like full blown. Yeah. And
which particular denomination?
Well, I grew up, my early years, we went to an evangelical free church. And then we switched over to non-denominational. It was more charismatic when I was like in high school. Then I went to a Christian college. It was Greenville College in Illinois. Real small, maybe like 1,000 students. And I took a lot of religion classes there and theology, stuff like that, which I really enjoyed. I really got a good basic knowledge of, the different religions and what people believed, and it was helpful. It probably confused me a little bit because I know that there was a lot of kind of indoctrination happening there too, but it's just really been a journey for me. So I went to that Christian school, got married, and we didn't go anywhere to church for maybe 8 to 10 years. And then we decided to start trying to find a local church to go to. We hopped around a little bit, and then we found, we ended up, the longest place that we were at, and the church that I left was a Calvary Fellowship or Calvary Chapel. You might be familiar with the Calvary Chapel denomination. So
What would you say is the main defining belief or action of Calvary Chapel as opposed to, say, Pentecostals or something?
Yeah, that's a good question. I feel like there was so much emphasis on like righteousness through like a just incredible personal relationship with Jesus. Like he's your righteousness, you know, you do life with him every day, day in and day out. It's Jesus, he's the center. You know, anything that takes you away from that focus of Jesus and him crucified, that's just going to lead you down a dark path. And so when I started questioning, I got a lot of those statements like, you know, you're going down a dark and dangerous path. If you think that there's anything that you can do that would, you know, make you righteous or that you would get salvation, as soon as you start thinking that you know, you're responsible for your salvation, you lost your salvation. So that was big there, big.
Yeah. You mentioned that you're not messianic anymore, and
right.
I know why you said that, but I avoid making those kinds of statements because the fact is that it's not that we're not messianic. It's that we don't accept that Jesus Christ is the Messiah.
Sure. Right.
You know, and it's the burden of proof is upon Christianity to prove us, you know, what is a messianic prophecy in the first place. And,
yes.
And secondly, does Yeshua or Jesus fulfill that? And one of the statements I've made before is that, you know, Christians often say, well, there's 300 messianic prophecies. You've probably heard this before, right? And I said, well, give me one of them. And usually it's Isaiah 53. Yeah. And I say, well, does it say anywhere there that it's talking about a Messiah? No, it's talking about a servant that is in suffering. So I said, the fact that Yeshua or Jesus suffered is no different than anyone else suffering, or the servant Israel being suffering amongst the nations for that matter.
Right.
Someone suffering is not a messianic prophecy.
That's right.
But yeah, so in your transition of coming to a knowledge that something's wrong here, what was your experience with the church? I mean, did you question the pastor during services, or was there?
Yeah, I did. So, I mean, I'm sure that I'm not the only one who's like kind of like deeper journey started with the biblical cosmology, you know? So that was kind of my first thing that, it was 2017, and I was just really kind of down and low, like just feeling frustrated with everything. People were just like, I don't know, just things were happening. Relationships were falling apart, and I just was losing stability, losing hope in this world, you know? And so I just cried out to my Father and just asked him for wisdom. And I said, I just want the truth at all costs. I don't care. I have nothing to lose. Like, I don't have any friends. Like, I just don't feel like anything else matters but the truth. And it wasn't even like 2 weeks later that this truth bomb lands on me, like, and I'm just like, wow, like, and that was a big thing for me for a while. I was really into it. I was typing up documents and all kinds of things, trying to prove that this was true, and that we should at least not trust so much in science and what we're told, you know, but that we should be using the Bible as our basis. Like, that's what I was trying to get people to see. And I tried sharing it with my husband at the time, and got nothing but ridicule. I mean, that was the beginning of just hell. Like, it just felt like awful. My family said I was crazy. I mean, just, it was bad. But what I loved about it was that every single time that they would criticize me or call me crazy, I would just have to work harder to prove, you know, that I wasn't crazy, you know? And so, and I may have never proved it to them, but I had to prove it to myself, you know, that I was on the right track. And I did take some of the things, my findings, to the pastor. I asked him a couple times to sit down and meet with me, and I took him right through Genesis 1 time and just like laid out everything for him and why I felt the way I felt. And I sort of felt like I was just being humored. Like he just was like humoring me, and he's like, "Well, that's nice, you know, if that brings you, if that brings you closer to God, you know, that's just great. And, you know, if anybody has any questions about that kind of thing, I'll just, you know, I'll tell them, you know, I'll talk to Rebecca. She's got an interesting perspective on that, you know, like, so I just kind of felt very disregarded. But then I pursued that for a while. Then I realized I'm not getting anywhere with this. It's okay. Like, I'm not going to judge these people because they don't, you know, believe what I believe about that, you know, like, and I would never walk out or leave a church over that topic. You know, that wasn't enough for me to want to like be divided. However, Torah was, when I started seeing that the Sabbath, you know, why aren't we keeping the Sabbath? Actually, before that, it was the holidays. You know, I really started questioning the holidays because personally, I knew that Christmas was an idol for me. Like, I had already known that. But it wasn't in the same way that, like, I didn't think it was an idol as far as like, actually that's what it's about, you know, like I just felt like it was an idol in my heart because I put everything into it, and it stressed me out every year, but yet I had to have everything just right and perfect, and, you know, the perfect tree. And I would go crazy if like lights would, you know, break or whatever the day before Christmas. Like, I was just psycho. And I saw that. And so when I started to realize that these holidays were worldly, they weren't, you know, they were of the world, not something that I should be concerned with. Then I was like, I was done. Like, it was just that easy for me. I'm just like, no more. And I breathed a huge sigh of relief because all the stress, you know, all the money, everything, just, it was crazy. I welcomed that change. And my mom, was not happy at all about me giving up Christmas. I mean, she actually, if she ever watches this, I'm sorry, but she told me she should come over here and take me over her knee. That's what she said to me. So I was like 39 years old at the time, and I'm like, you're gonna come to, okay, that'd be interesting. So it was just a constant battle. It still is a constant battle with my family members. I mean, they can't accept it. They've told me that they won't entertain not even a single thought that I have to share. Nothing. They will not discuss anything with me. And so that was interesting. But when I came into like recognizing that the Sabbath, and my close friend, Vanessa, hopefully she doesn't mind me talking about her, but she was kind of already studying out Torah, and I really respected her a lot. And another thing I was doing was just kind of watching people on Facebook. I just watched conversations, and I could see that the people that were supporting Torah all they were doing was giving scriptures, like just scriptures like everywhere. And then like the other people are like, you know, just accusing them of things like, oh, well, you think you're so holy and this isn't, you know, and I'm like, all they're doing is saying, this is what the word says, you know? And that really clicked with me. And I started to see, okay, like I really need to study this out for myself. And I loved it. It was amazing. And then I presented that to my pastor. I sent him a couple emails. And again, he was just kind of like, well, this is interesting, but I don't really have time for this. This isn't really my priority right now. And he said to me that he agreed. He told me that he agreed with 90% of what I said to him. And I'm like, then why aren't you teaching that? Like, why? Why would you stand up there and teach the opposite? And I never got an answer, but finally I had enough, and I just decided I'm done. I can't continue, especially leading worship. I felt like a hypocrite, because I'm up there, I'm leading worship and singing songs I didn't agree with. And it was time to go. But that caused way more problems for my home life. Everything just got really, really ugly. And I felt like I was a criminal all the time. Like I had committed a crime. And so here I am. So.
Oh, praise God that He's, provided you a place. And how's
Yes.
work going?
Work,
yeah.
Yeah, I got what I need. It's working out. So, yep. Very thankful.
Praise God.
Yep. I gotta, I need to learn how to use a drill. There's some things that I am clueless about, but Pete, my friend there, has offered to help me learn how to use a drill. So
that's awesome. Yeah, if you had to single out, well, you talked about the biblical cosmology, but I would say that Christianity also believes in that. Of course, E.W. Bullinger has written about the meaning of the 12 constellations and so forth, which, isn't in line at all with Torah, but those concepts are in Christianity as well. So, like you said, you wouldn't leave church just because of cosmology. So really, what was the first major lie that you began to unravel, that we need to only follow YaH and the Torah?
The holidays. That was big for me. I couldn't understand why we were keeping when we were given these feast days, and I didn't even really know that they existed, because I wasn't really.
Is that
that was for the Jews, not for me. That was for the Jews, right? That's what we're taught.
Yeah, well, there are obviously Christians who, like the Assembly of God, that do believe in keeping the feast days to whatever extent or whatever is debatable or arguable. But I don't think that you could use that either as a major reason to come out of the New Testament, because we see in Acts and so forth that they were still observing Passover and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. So you mean what brought me out of the New Testament, not the church? Because I left the church before I discovered about the New Testament being.
Okay.
Yeah. So
what was it within the church itself you left because they weren't interested at all in the feast days?
Yeah, that was kind of the beginning of it. That was the big thing that just kind of got me started on realizing that the church was teaching so many lies about, not just about cosmology, like I said, that was neither here nor there. I wasn't going to focus on that, but that they were literally teaching us doctrinal lies, and and even just, there were some really key verses like for I give you good doctrine, forsake ye not my Torah. And here we are, just following the New Testament, and Paul. And so I was out of there before I even knew anything that was faulty about the New Testament. It was enough for me just seeing that, we're not in line. We're not in line with what we were given. So.
Okay. Um, have you ever doubted that the Creator is real? Or if you were talking to a friend or something and they wanted to know about the Creator, what is it in your mind is the strongest proof that there is a Creator and that His Torah is true?
Well, I mean, I do think that it's hard to deny that someone has created everything around us. Everything is just so intricate and beautiful and amazing. And, you know, I'm sure that you could argue that in so many ways, but to me personally, it's just hard to deny. However, the Torah itself, I think, is also proof of a creator because it lines up with reality. And my experience has been, you know, that it does bring blessing. So there's no way I can like betray the truth that has done for my life, you know? And so my best testimony is my experience, because following, like keeping the Sabbath and giving up these days of, you know, the world and pagan ways and stuff, like has just been nothing but blessing for my life. I've saved money. I have more time with, you know, there's a reason why He's instructed us to keep His laws, you know, if He's the Creator, He knows what's best for us. And so even things like the food laws and all of that has just been nothing but just wonderful. I've benefited from them. So why not just trust that, you know, test it out is what I would want to say to people, you know, test it out, you know, keep the Sabbath and, you know, take that seventh day and rest and just see the blessing that is in your life, because it's like science, you know, he is the one that established all of that, and true science lines up with the effects of keeping His ways.
Yeah. If you had to share with our listening audience what your favorite scriptural text is, what would it be?
Well, I mean, I've really just come to really love my two favorite books are Genesis and Deuteronomy. I don't know that I have a particular, I really love the stories or the accounts of Genesis. I read Genesis over and over and over again and find new things every time. And I just love the part in Deuteronomy about, you know, the scattering and regathering and how His Torah is not burdensome, but that it's near us. It's in our hearts to do it, to guard it and to do it. So.
Yeah, amen. I would, a lot of people think that the Creator is very distant. And I really like Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 7. It says, "For what great nation has with them an Elohim, a mighty one that is so near to them, like YaH our Elohim, and all that we shall call upon Him."
That's awesome. Yeah.
And, you know, so people have this idea that the Creator in the Old Testament is not forgiving unless there's bloodshed, of course. And He can't simply be compassionate to you without you bringing some kind of offering or whatever. And that's not at all what we see in Leviticus 26, where it says, "In the land of your enemies you shall confess the crookednesses of your forefathers and walking contrary to me. Wow. And then I will turn again to you and I will forgive you." Getting back to the holidays, yeah, I definitely had some struggles with that with my family as well. And before the grandparents died, we always had a family reunion in the summertime, which was really nice because it's not on any particular pagan festival day.
Right.
And it's just everyone getting together, having fun. And after the grandparents died, they stopped doing that, stopped having the reunion. And the only thing that they would do together is of course the Christmas. And I said, well, why can't we do something in the summertime? Number one, Christmas is a horrible time because it's freezing out and there's snow and stuff, and it's hard to get together with everyone or do anything fun because it's inside. So, whereas in the summertime we would get together, we'd go swimming, we'd play soccer, it was a lot more fun in my opinion. But and it's like, no, we're not doing that.
Let's just do Christmas. Yeah.
Is there any other kind of any other musicians, or I think it's kind of unique what people like you and myself are doing. It's very hard to find music that just praises YaH, and just trying to use scriptural texts like the Torah. But has there been any other things that have inspired you, or what kind of genres would you say is inspiring your music?
Oh, wow. I am a music lover of all styles. And you'll hear lots of different influences, I think, in my style, and it changes, like based on what I'm listening to at the time. But I love like bluegrass and like older country. I also like just classic rock, and I'm just all over the place. But I really like, since I play my guitar a lot of that influence comes from, hang on. Sorry. A lot of that influence comes from just bluegrass. I don't know if you're familiar with Gillian Welsh.
No.
She's a, kind of country bluegrass singer, and I'm a big fan, so.
Hang on. Those are the main questions that I had for you. Is there anything else you want to share? Anything particular about this journey?
Just that I'm really, and I never want to stop learning. I think that there's still so much more to learn, but, coming away from the New Testament is really just such a huge thing. And I get it. I get that it's hard. It's hard to let go of. It's hard. Maybe it's not hard to let go of it, but it's hard to examine it in the first place. I resisted that for so long. I saw people like you, kind of trying to gently prompt people like, look at this, look. And I just kind of was like, not yet. Like, I can't go there, and I know that his timing is what it is. And you can't change that, but I do, sometimes wish that I would have saw it earlier, but I'm so glad and I'm so thankful to have seen that it just doesn't line up. And it's not that, when people say about, well, you hate Jesus, you're an enemy of Christ and all this, if it was true, if it was true, maybe I'd believe it, but it's not true. Like it's a fairy tale. and I can't believe something that I can't prove to be true. And so, and it's not that I don't have anything against anybody who wants to believe that. If that's what makes them, you know, get through life, I mean, okay, but that is not for me. I don't want lies. I don't want to live my life based on something that is a complete fraudulent lie. And that's what that is, because it should line up with, you know, Tanakh scripture, and it doesn't. It just doesn't. So how can they say that the New Testament is that the foundation is there, but then the foundation doesn't matter, you know, like only this matters? It just doesn't make sense. I just can't anymore. So and I'm trying to get bolder, and that's why I wanted to do this interview, because it's a little difficult for me to be bold, because I have not experienced very pleasant things when I try to assert my beliefs. But I'm kind of at the point where I really don't have anything to lose. I don't have it's not like I've got all these people that respect me. I don't really care. So I just want to be able to stand up for what I know is true.
Yeah, praise YaH. Yeah. So what resources do you have as yet? Do you have a Hebrew to English Torah, or do you have a Tanakh, or?
Oh, hang on. Sorry about that. I actually still have my New King James Bible, but I use, because that's what I've had for so many years. It's got notes all over it. And it's interesting because I go back over, and like every time I read over something again, I see my notes and I scribble them out, like, no. And you can actually see that I'm like, some of the notes, like I've scribbled out and I've replaced it with what's right. And then even again, I crossed it out and then again changed it. So I kind of like having that, just because I can see how things have changed. But I do also have, like I have my concordances, and, you know, I use my phone to look up a lot of things. And I did have a little pocket stones edition, but I actually sent it back because I needed the money. So I just returned it. So I only had it for a very short time. So, but I have another one coming. So.
Yeah. Praise YaH.
Yeah.
So you said you came to the knowledge of leaving the New Testament back in November, was it?
It was actually more like September.
Okay.
Yeah, right around the time of trumpets.
Mm-hmm.
I started really like starting to examine it, giving myself permission to look at it, and it happened real fast. Once I started looking and questioning, I took some of my own notes on things, and I also listened to some of Scott's videos, which was really helpful.
Yeah, for those who are not familiar with Scott that may watch this video, it's Scott Shube. He runs Bait Tefillah Productions, or you can find him on YouTube.
Yeah, and him and I share a Zoom account, so that's why my name is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so I just started studying it out around that time. Now, before that, I was really just, and I mean, you can ask my friend Vanessa, she'll tell you that probably for about a year prior to that, I was really, really, really struggling with who this Jesus person was and why did we need him? Like, you know, because I was starting to see that, you know, what righteousness is doing the Torah, you know? And I'm thinking, well, then what's the purpose of this guy? Like, what good, why do we need him? And it just really was messing with me for a long time, probably about a year. And I was pretty convinced that he couldn't be God. Like, he just couldn't be God. So he might've been a prophet, or he may have been just for a while, I thought maybe he was just an example of what was possible for us. Like, you know, like he walked it out, and he, you know, he died and was resurrected. And that's just a picture of what our lives would be like. I don't know. I was just thinking about all different kinds of things. And then I just realized that it's not necessary at all. He's an idol, to put it bluntly.
For sure.
That people put their faith and their trust and their hope and everything that is within them, they pour it onto this idol, and this idol makes them accept themselves for who they are and not ever have to change or be better, or, you know, really learn and understand Scripture. It's all Paul doctrine, and they're not even really listening to what Jesus is even teaching, because that's not even for them. Because, oh, well, Jesus came, a lot of people believe that Jesus was only, you know, for the Jews. And so, you know, Paul came so that the Gentiles could have their own separate gospel. And I mean, it's messed up that there's even that many different ways of looking at it. Like, that there's so many how many denominations are there? And do you know? I mean, thousands.
Yeah, that's interesting when you stop and look at it. I mean, when you look at Jewish congregations, sure, there's some differences between being liberal or reform or orthodox, but the basic tenets are the same. And
right.
you know, there is definitely a growing number of people who are stuck in that position of recognizing that there's problems with Paul's writings, but still hanging on to, say, the Gospels and Revelation and so forth. And
yeah,
I would say I was stuck in that boat for probably a good 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when Paul said that an idol is nothing, so even if they see you eating food offered to idols in an idol's temple, it's okay. You know, people don't want to accept that, but that's actually what he said.
Yeah.
If they see you eating food offered to idols in an idol's temple, well, first of all, what are you doing in there?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and this was his line of argument. And so for me, that was the first step to recognizing.
Yeah, that was a big one for me. And one of the big things with Paul, like, that blows my mind, is the part where he's walking by one of their idols, and he like stops and he's like, you know, this idol that you guys are worshiping, like this is the idol of the unknown God, and it's him that I'm declaring to you. Like, what? Like, did you really just say that? Like, you're declaring an unknown God to the people. And what are we warned of in Deuteronomy 13? You know, if anyone, you know, entices you to go after other gods or the unknown gods that your fathers have not known, you know, do not go that way. And here we have Paul saying, I'm declaring to you this unknown God.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was just looking at that text that you're referring to in Deuteronomy 32, verse 17, that they slaughtered unto false mighty ones that came up later, which your fathers did not fear or worship.
Right.
And from the rock that brought you forth, you were unmindful, and you did forget the mighty one that bore you forth.
Wow.
And I always tell people it's very interesting that that Yeshua, Jesus, claims to be the rock. And then in verse 37, it says, "It is said, where are their mighty ones, the rock in whom they had trusted?" And so, this is why YaH says 2 verses later, "Behold now that I, even I, am he, and there is no Elohim, there is no mighty one that is with me."
Yeah, and he's basically saying, you're going to forget about me. You're going to, you're going to turn to other gods and forget that I am the rock. I'm the true rock.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Have you been studying anything particular lately?
I mean, I've been having some questions about, just the topic of who is Israel is something that's always, I think, gonna just blow my mind. And something that I was just, I'm always wondering about this Jacob and Esau thing. And the firstborn, but like Jacob took the birthright, and like that whole like familial dynamic there, like what is that saying about like the bigger picture, of all of us, like all of his people. So I just want to study that out some more. I don't know if you have any insight.
Well, I've said to people before, why would YaH share this knowledge with us if we didn't have some form of relation to the 12 tribes as a whole?
Right. Right.
So, and I think this is true. I mean, it's not very often you come across somebody who legitimately only wants to love YaH and to follow his commands with all their heart and their strength and their being. So when you look at how few that number is, I think people that are coming to a knowledge of the name, they're remembering his name, they're praising him, and doing their best to follow his ways and commands. I would have to think more than likely they have some relation to the 12 tribes.
Yeah.
But even if not, even if we're of some false lineage that was a horrible people, the Torah tells us that the stranger becomes included in Israel. So
one law.
Yeah. I did read a book that was 300 pages long. It was called The Lost Tribes of Israel. And he had documented a number of things throughout Africa and Europe and North America, just trailing these different clues that lead back, like the Danube River is named after Dan. These different things that we find throughout different nations. So why is it there? Why is there ancient pictograph like the Los Lunas Decalogue in Mexico? Why do the native North Americans say the name of YaH? And I have this on report from a friend of mine who's from the local tribes here in British Columbia. So he knew that the name of the creator was YaH prior to coming to a knowledge of Torah. He was never a Christian or anything. He just came to a knowledge of the Torah. So I said, great for you. You didn't have to go through that transitional period of believing the Bible and then going to Torah. You just went straight to it. So
yes. Yeah, that's all very interesting stuff. And one day we'll know. One day we'll know what it all.
I'm going to open the mic to Pete. Are you there?
Shalom.
I was just wondering if you had any questions for Rebecca.
I don't have any questions, no, but I think it's very courageous what you did. All praises.
Thanks. Thanks for being on here.
No problem.
Praise YaH, and I'd like to thank you again for your time and for sharing your testimony and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for letting me come on. I know I kind of invited myself, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, I know. I definitely want to do some more of these kinds of recordings in the future.
Great.
Again, people can check out your website, your YouTube channel, Rebecca Jade,
yep,
on YouTube, and looking forward to your productions as you continue to work towards that goal of having a CD. And
yep.
YaH be with you and continue to be with you as you continue to create for His name's sake. Again, all the best with you as you continue in this transition of your life, and may YaH prosper all of us in the works of our hands, and may He be near to the prayers of those that call upon His name. And for now, we'll let you go, and we'll maybe see you at a future meeting.
Great. Sounds
great. Shalom.
Thank you. Shalom.